welcome back to another episode of All Things Everything presented by Gulf Coast Smoke. My name is Alonzo.
And I'm Sabrina.
And this is episode 81. As always, how are you doing this week?
I'm good, besides the fact that it is darker than dark outside, and it is
6:07.
6:00, and
Yeah.
it's infuriating to me. Like, I feel like it's midnight, and I should be home, and I should be in bed.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with you there. I don't understand how some people are cool with, or they like this.
Yeah.
I actually think my sister Kimberly likes this.
Right, yeah.
And that just pisses me off, Kimberly. If you're listening, sister, I have no idea how you are, number one, okay with this, but number two, you like it.
Right.
Insane to me. But I do love you anyway, but that just gets me upset.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Beyond that, we are trying to get the house decorated for Christmas. That's a big thing going on. We've been, well, you more than me have been doing pretty much something every day to kind of get it ready. Wait, did the tree come in today?
It hasn't. And, normally we would be done decorating by, I don't know, mid-November. But we wanted a real tree, and then normally trees don't start selling until like after Thanksgiving now. And then also a real tree just didn't work with our layout. So we're like, okay, well, now we need to get a fake tree. And
and then we were going to go get one cut down. We were going to go cut one down. I told Sabrina that I wanted to start this new tradition where we go to a Christmas tree farm here in Texas and actually go cut our own tree down.
Right.
Tie it to the truck, drive it home. It was going to be in Elgin, Texas, which is kind of close to, or is it Elgin or Elgin? I don't know. It was in Elgin. And then, we wanted to drive home and put it up and all that stuff, tie it to the truck, just a new tradition. But when we looked into it, they only have one type of tree. Yeah. And that one type of tree is not the type of tree that we typically will buy.
Right.
So I think just because of obviously the area that we're in, we're not going to be able to get the Douglas firs or the noble firs here. And they have the pines. They had the pine trees over there, not the pine trees, but like the Christmas pine. And yeah, it's not what we wanted. So we decided to kind of go against that. We'll see if we can't start another tradition a different way, but we do want to start a different family tradition here. But yeah, so we're trying to get the Christmas tree and everything set up. We haven't even started on the outside. And yeah, we typically are done by now, but we had such a busy November. We haven't talked to you guys in, a week?
Yeah, I think so.
So we had such a busy November that it was really, really hard for us to kind of focus on Christmas decorations the way we normally do. And it's because of all those turkey breasts that you guys saw for so long. And I wanted to take a few minutes to kind of reflect on that, talk about maybe some of the ones that you really, really enjoyed, and talk about the whole process and the whole thing. I mean, do you feel like it was a successful month of turkey breasts, of content, of, just us deciding to do that and really just sticking to it and going really hard?
Yeah, I think it was definitely successful. I don't know on the receiving end of it, right? Are people sick of seeing the turkey breasts? So from that standpoint, I don't know how successful that was. But on our end, I definitely think it's a success because we had orders that directly correlated to turkey recipes that we were doing.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people tell us oh yeah, you're doing all these turkey recipes, so that people are watching. They're viewing the recipes. So from that standpoint, yeah, I absolutely do think it's a success. Whether people get sick of seeing it or not,
yeah,
they did see it, and
For
it
sure.
was successful. We get a lot of interaction with those videos, and yeah, I mean, they resulted in a lot of sales. They resulted in a lot of people being inspired. And I mean, we got a lot of people on Facebook say, "Hey, look, it's Thanksgiving. I made turkey breast." Right.
Yeah. No, it was really cool. And one of the coolest things about it was I had a lot of personal friends. Of course, all of my friends, I think for the most part, see our videos. They may not tune in and fully watch, but they at least see what we're doing and kind of know what's going on. But I had a lot of personal friends reach out, and they were like, "Hey, dude, I tried that turkey breast you did, and I'll never do a full turkey again, ever."
Right.
My family loved it. The macaroni and cheese was fire. So we had that macaroni and cheese recipe that I really just truly think is so delicious. It's simple. Of course, making the roux and the bechamel and stuff like that is, I don't want to say it's complex because it's not complex, but if it's the first time you're doing it, maybe, even me, right? I'm sure you remember the first time I did it, I wasn't as confident. But this
Right.
time I went back and did it again, and I already knew what I needed to do. So it was easier even for me to do it a second time, a third time, a fourth time. And then you kind of get into like, okay, I'm not as good as you, but I know that I can make a successful macaroni and cheese even if you weren't there. Whereas the first time, for sure, I wouldn't have been able to do it without you.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of putting these videos out, is that people can really see them and try and learn. And that's really, really important. We've talked about this before, but we still get the comments all the time like, why are you talking about this? If you don't know that, you definitely shouldn't be at a smoker. My brother or my sister, not everybody knows everything that you know or that we know.
Right.
And maybe they want to get into the sport. Maybe they want to start grilling. These types of videos, the reason we make them is so people can gain confidence. And so they can start to see like, hey, this is not as difficult as it seems. So we put out a little video towards the end of November where I showed people how to find a grain for a turkey breast and how to cut against the grain on a turkey breast. Because believe it or not, it still makes a gigantic difference.
For sure.
If you're not cutting against the grain on your turkey breast, I promise you it is going to make a difference still. No matter how tender it is, it's just not going to pull apart right. It's going to it's going to feel a little bit stringier in your mouth because those muscle fibers, instead of them being shortened, they're long because you're cutting with the grain. And it's definitely not something that you want to do. And I even said it in the video. You know how I found that out? By making the mistake.
Right.
By cutting with the grain and then realizing that it is really simple. It honestly really is. You don't really have to do exactly what we did in the video as long as you've done it enough times. So we don't have to do it anymore. But the reason I wanted to make the video is because not everybody does it as much as us. So the turkey breast is kind of shaped like a teardrop in a way, right? So the teardrop where it gets thinner, that if you start cutting against that thin part, you're cutting against the grain because the top of the turkey breast, it's actually running sideways and it runs downward, right? I know that. You know that because we cooked 50 turkey breasts,
Yeah.
But not everybody does that. And not everybody knows that. So it's part of it. And I was really, really excited, especially to see a lot of people try the macaroni and cheese and like it. I had Gene, the owner of Ice and Cream here in Portland. He reached out, said, man, I tried the macaroni and cheese. It was fire. Our neighbor 2 doors down, she messaged, I think she maybe posted or she commented.
Yeah.
And she said, just made the macaroni and cheese. It was incredible. That is exactly why we're doing this, 100%. And we're going to continue to put out content that you guys might in your brain think, why? This is really easy. It isn't to everybody, though.
Yeah.
Right? It really isn't to everybody. And there was a time, I promise you, when I didn't know what the heck I was doing either. We bought our house 8 years ago now, right? I remember there was a day when one of my best friends, Luke, we were going to do a steak night. And this was 8.5 years ago. And now look at where we're at. We'll look at how much knowledge we have that we've kind of gained over time with this barbecue thing. But we were doing steak night. I went to go pick up the steaks. We were going to come to our house and we were going to have a really good time. And I took pictures of the steaks and I was like showing them to my boys. I was like, dude, these ribeyes are nice, bro. Super fatty, incredible, fire. And it wasn't intramuscular fat.
Right.
It was the fat that actually separates the cap from the spinalis. Right? And Luke, one of my best friends, called me. He goes, yo, Gansey, just so you know, my friends call me Gansey. Just so you know, those ribeyes do look fire, but that's a lot of fat in between. You're not really looking for that fat. You're more looking for the fat that's intramuscular.
Right.
And I was like, okay, like what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, the red part of the steak, that's the actual muscle. So you want fat running through that red part. That means that it's marbled. That extra fat isn't always a good thing. Right? That was 8-9 years ago. Think about where we were then and where we are now. And we still loved to cook. We would cook all the time. You and I would cook all the time. Steaks, chicken wings, sausages. We've talked about this, right? We've done it. But 9 years ago, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I cooked all the time. Right? But you get better. You learn more. I had my buddy Luke tell me about this. And from there, I never made that mistake again. So even the people that are out there doing it, it's not that they're doing anything wrong, but maybe they just don't know these little tips, these little tricks, these little things. And I even said it in the video, this makes a huge difference. Especially if you're cooking a turkey breast and you're giving it to your whole family, all of your friends, and you want to give them the best bite.
Right.
It's Thanksgiving dinner or lunch, right? But you want to give them the best bite possible. So I think that these things are really important to continue to show people. And I want people to be able to come to the channel. Yes, I do want there to be some complex stuff. Hey, this is why I feel like this brisket fat is finely rendered. It feels like this. It looks like this. Blah, 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 whatever. But there has to be some simplicity to what we're doing too, because at the end of the day, we're barbecuing, and that's it. It's not rocket science, right? We're barbecuing. I do think that it's important to understand these things, especially if you're going to get into the sport and you're going to spend a lot of money. But most definitely, I think that keeping a lot of these things simple is also equally as important.
Well, and also when you think about the turkey breast, for example, when you go and put it on the smoker, you want to tuck that like teardrop, that tapered end. You want to tuck it in so that the whole thing cooks evenly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if this is like your first time doing a smoked turkey breast and you look at that thing, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to maybe spot where the grain is running because you got seasoning on it, maybe you got sauce on it, whatever it is, you might not be able to tell. So I think even the tip of, making a little incision at first is going to help you if this is like your very first time, right? But
Yeah.
a lot of people have such a hard time grasping that when they're viewing our videos or anybody's videos out there, is that like, oh, you should already, if this, you're having to say this out loud, then you're not an actual pit master or like,
Which I'm not a pit
cook.
master,
Well,
and I'm not a chef.
Right. But people just like, they don't understand that there's going to be a lot of people out there who this is their first time maybe watching a barbecue video.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is their first, and that's the beauty of like our reels, right? Is they can reach more than just people who subscribe on YouTube for barbecue, right? We can do actual recipes that anybody can enjoy. So for a lot of these people, when a video gets that many views, you don't know if, what kind of skills, barbecue skills the viewers have. So I think it's important to kind of appeal to everybody, whether you're a seasoned cook or, a first-time cook. Not every single video is going to be like, hey, this is a very beginner step, right? That's why we have like our collection of videos that people can go look back on. But there are going to be some where we're going to say like, hey, this is a very basic way to start or introduce this cooking skill, right?
A lot of the times, those videos actually do decently well.
Right.
And I think it's because people find value in them. And if you look at the comments, like even specifically on Instagram, there was people that are like, dude, this is killer. Thanks for this. I want you to finish, but I did want to throw that in there real quickly. These videos do seem to do well because although the comments may not always seem positive, or it's hard to explain, but the videos do well because I think there's value there. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, then I think the majority of the comments are positive, but when you get a lot of views on any video, that's when you start getting people who are going to feel like they're free to just say anything negative about it. But also, yeah, I think those are the videos that people are going to save. If we do something, I don't know, crazy, like for example, the turkey brine pickle breast or something,
Yeah.
that might not be a recipe people are going to save.
Yeah.
But when you save like, hey, this is how you should properly cut a turkey,
Sure.
that's one that most people are probably going to want to save so they can say, oh, I'm going to make this weekend. I don't remember how it is to cut it. Let me go back and look at this video, right?
Yeah.
And so those are the kinds of things you want for, social media growth, is you want people commenting, you want people liking, but you also want people to save your videos, right?
Yeah, that's important. That is.
Yeah.
It really is. It's funny because right now I'm working on a little project, and you know what I'm working on, like the PowerPoint at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been doing research on like what are really, really good statistics for, social media.
Right.
Yeah, one of the biggest ones is saves, because that means that person is interested in that. They want to come back to it. Right. So that's exactly why a lot of the times, like you and I will do the recipe cards the next day, because maybe that person saved video because they want to go back and view it. Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we give them a recipe card, well, now they have the video and then they have the recipe.
Right.
So, for example, like, I don't know, let's just say a husband and wife like us, and we do it all the time. Like literally, me and you do it all the time. I'll grab your phone or you'll grab mine. You're looking at yours and then you're looking at mine. And it's like we're comparing, like, okay, I need to see this here. Okay, I got on Sabrina's phone. Okay, and then you're looking at the same time.
Right.
Or if somebody has like an iPad or something and they want to put their recipes there. One of the things that I really hope happens is I hope people have an album in their phone of GCS recipes.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I mean, nobody has told me that they've done that, but I had somebody, one of my really, really good friends, Jay Craig, owner of Outlaw Barbecue Smokers. I had one of my really good friends, Jay Craig, owner of Outlaw Barbecue Smokers. He actually texted me the other day, and it was just a picture of the recipe card. Well, a couple of seconds later, he said, "Hey, just so you know, little things count." And I love this. And I love this because if I want to try one of your recipes, I have a list of what I need to go get at the grocery store. And while I'm at the grocery store, I can pull up your picture and I can see exactly what I need to buy. And that is exactly why we started doing these. But I will tell you this much, and I want to give credit where it's due. We got the idea from Leslie cooking with Babe, right? So when we were at the Royal Oak Invitational, she was mentioning to me that she's doing all of her recipes in video form, and then she posts pictures. And that gave us the idea of doing this. So I have to give credit where it's due. This idea did not come into my brain on its own. That being said, our process, our presentation, our structure of the picture, that was all us, right? But we got the original idea from Leslie, Cooking with Babe, and it really, I believe, has been successful for us because I know people are saving those. I know people like to see them.
Yeah, for sure. And so, kind of just to wrap up Thanksgiving, one of the last recipes I want to talk about, because I think this also pertains to Christmas. A lot of people do hams during Christmas as well.
Sure.
So we actually did our last long form video that we put out was on a pulled ham, and that's kind of a trend that was going viral in preparation for Thanksgiving. Most people are going to get the spiral cut ham, so it's like you really only have to smoke it for 2 hours, like the double smoked ham.
Yeah, basically you're just warming it up, and you just want it to be, because technically you could eat that right then and there.
Right.
It's a smoked ham. All you're doing is warming it up, exactly like I said. But what people are doing is they're using a smoker to warm it up, so you get that double smoke. You already, I don't know, let's just say it's already cherry smoked, and then you post oak smoke it. Well, now you got cherry and post oak double smoked ham.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So now what people are doing is they're doing the bone in, not the spiral cut, and it's a pulled ham. So it's almost like you cook it low and slow, like a pork butt,
Sure,
like a bone-in pork butt, and then you just pull it at the end.
And you know what's crazy about this recipe, and I'll be open and honest with everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Is that for days, you and I were contemplating back and forth, like, man, do we actually do this? Because we watched a lot of people. I mean, how many videos would you say we watched? 15?
Yeah, something like that.
We watched like 15 videos, right? And in these videos, and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be anything. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm being completely honest. In the videos that we saw, man, it was 15 to 20 easy. All of the ham looked dry.
Yeah.
It looked like it had a really, really dry texture. It looked like if you were to bite it, you would kind of get that chalky feel in your mouth. And we went back and forth, and we actually had originally decided, like, we're not doing this because that does not look good. And over time, we were like, okay, no, I mean, I think it's something that's going to be a good recipe right now. People are going to want to see it. It's an idea. Ham is good for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we really contemplated it, but we decided to do it. And when we decided to do it, we were like, okay, well, what can we do to cure that dry look? What could we do that's a little bit different that might make our recipe not necessarily better, but just a little bit different, but still use the same technique and the same, overall base of this pulled ham? And so we kind of went to our competition experience, right? What we did was we made a really, really good and flavorful au jus in the actual wrap of that ham. So what we did was we did apple soda, which I've done apple soda on a lot of pork videos. I just really, truly love that apple soda. And you know what's crazy is I can't even remember the first time that I decided I wanted to try that apple soda.
Oh, it was years back.
It was years back, but I don't know what really made me do it.
I think you just saw it at H-E-B, it was a newly released product, and you saw it in I like apple soda, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you just grabbed it. Hey, let's try it. That's usually how these things work.
Yeah, that's for sure. So we got the apple soda. We put the pulled ham, well, at this point it wasn't pulled, obviously. We put the ham into a deep foil pan, and then we also threw a stick of butter in there. and that's it, right? And the reason that we did it like that is because we did want to create flavor, but we wanted to create a little bit of a more natural flavor. Now, the other thing that we did just to make sure that we didn't get that liquid too syrupy with the soda was I poured the 1 can of soda into the foil pan, and then I filled that same exact can up with water, and I poured that in as well, right? Just to make sure that I had plenty of water in there. I did not want anything syrupy. You know, we've all probably made ribs before where we put brown sugar, honey, and butter, and it's usually that blue butter, that squeezed blue butter, the fake butter. It's not even butter. I don't even know why I'm calling it butter. Whatever the heck it is, it's in that little blue bottle, and you burn the bottom.
Yeah.
And it has a really, really pungent, nasty smell, gross flavor, very, very bitter, and it's almost like a syrup.
Yeah.
But it's like a really gross syrup that you don't want to eat. So we don't want those things to happen. And, you know, with cooking, with smoking, we've been doing this for a while, but can always still have mistakes. You and I have actually had a mistake recently on the Weber Smoky Mountain where we were just not paying attention, and the Weber Smoky Mountain got out of control hot. We never posted that video.
Yeah.
You guys don't always hear about the fails, but there are fails. 1,000,000%. So it was just something that we wanted to make sure didn't happen. So we added that water, and overall the au jus that came out of it was just super duper flavorful.
Yeah, I mean, even the ham itself, when we pulled it before we even did anything to it, we were actually pretty shocked.
Yeah.
It looked like pretty moist.
Yeah, we were like, what the heck? Like, why does this looks good? Unfortunately, we were expecting a dry ham.
It's just one of those cuts where I don't think it's going to have much fat. It's already been smoked already.
Sure. Yeah, and I think also the hams in general, I would probably have to call Mark Williams, who's like a whole hog king.
Expert.
But the hams in general, I do not believe. So it just pork in general, right? Your tenderloin, your hams, your bacon, everything is done and fully safe to eat, right? Around that 145-degree mark. But at different temperatures, you're going to get the best possible texture.
Right.
Right? So ham is one of those ones where we need to get Mark on here to talk about this, but he would definitely know because Mark's like a mad scientist when it comes to this stuff. But it's possible that taking it that far is really just not the best way to reheat it, really not the best way to cook the ham part of the pork.
I mean, that's something we've kind of talked about when we've done like our competition, like the pulled portion of our pork.
Sure.
Is that it's like 2 different types of meat in one. And so even though like the darker meat is perfect, that white meat is dry, right? So
it's like stringy,
right,
chalky.
So that that ham is pretty much the same way, right? And the whole purpose of this pulled ham is to pull it. So you really do need to take it to that like 205 range so that bone pulls out. But like you said, that might not actually be the ideal temperature, internal temperature to take it to for
the hams,
eating, for the texture of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? For example, I would be curious to see what temperature do they smoke it to before they stop the cooking process, vacuum seal it up, and then ship it off.
Right.
I'm just curious, right? Because even like those spiral cut hams, when you heat them up, you're taking them to like 145.
Right.
They're still tender. They're still really juicy. I'm really curious if that's like the preferred method to get a really, really good bite on your ham. But overall, to kind of wrap up the ham, I will say that turned out incredibly good.
Yeah, it really did.
Incredibly good. Like, I was super duper, we were super surprised.
Right.
And pleasantly surprised for sure, because it's like, you guys have no idea. We contemplated back and forth for so long, like, do we actually do this? Yeah. And we didn't want to. We really didn't. But I'm glad we did, and I think it's 100% worth trying and really experiment with those flavors, because pork to me is so versatile. You can do sweet, you can do spicy, you can do fruity, you can do savory, you know, salt, pepper, garlic. You can do so many different things with the pork, and I do think that you can make it really, really good a lot of different ways, even texture-wise. You know, there's sometimes, like, for example, we want a little bit of bite on our country-style ribs. Sometimes we want to fall apart. It just depends. But that's the beauty of pork, and I think it's just a really, really versatile meat. You can play with it. You can have a lot of fun with it for sure.
But I think the best part about that recipe is that we did it overnight. We smoked it overnight on the pellet smoker, which, I mean, everybody out there who doesn't like pellet smokers, you can say what you want, but that thing is so convenient for an overnight smoke, especially when you do like Thanksgiving or Christmas lunch and not a dinner. I mean, that was perfect. Now,
what do you think? I'm sorry to cut you off. What do you think the percentage is of people that own, of all the people that grill in the world? I would be willing to bet it's above 75% of the people that own a pellet smoker only. I would be willing to bet that number's high.
Yeah, I actually think that the percentage of people who like despise pellet smokers is actually a very, very small percentage.
Yeah.
They're just very vocal about it because
Yeah.
they're like truists. They don't believe that that's like a true way to make barbecue. But there's a lot of people out there who cannot have an open fire grill or smoker in an apartment.
Yep.
So like a pellet smoker is the perfect substitution for that. And unless you're like cooking something side by side, doing a comparison, you're not really going to be able to tell the difference in flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, and so that same day or night, we did an overnight brisket.
Yeah.
We did it for a reel, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But it was super convenient, and that's because we even had. Now, this is like the reason we've haven't really put out another video, long form video since. Is we've actually been dealing with some pretty bad weather. We've had a lot of rain. So that night there was no rain, and then we woke up in the morning and it was raining. So luckily, like everything on the pellet smoker was fine. But if we were trying to do something like open fire or on a
way.
Yeah, we wouldn't really be able to work in those conditions. Which
for sure, it really saved. Honestly, the pellet grill saved our butts that day.
Yeah,
100%.
It was wild. We lost a canopy.
Dude, we're the worst with canopies. And I swear, like, we try and take care of them. We try and spend a little bit extra money to get a better one that's a little more sturdy. I mean, I just don't know.
I don't even understand what happened. So we have shade sails in our backyard.
Yeah.
And so
I think maybe it was just dripping through and like collected at top.
Possibly.
And then it just was so much. I mean, water is an unstoppable force, right?
Right.
So with the water pounding on it and then pooling up there, I think it just busted.
But that thing, the leg was like twisted into the lid of the pellet smoker.
It like snapped
in the handle.
Yeah.
That I didn't understand. I mean, it really wasn't that windy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have good luck with
yeah.
No, canopies.
I don't disagree, but I agree on the pellet grill thing. They're very convenient and they work. And then so off of that, we'll go right into some of the shorts that we have since posted on the channel since the last time that we talked to you guys. So we talked about the pulled ham, which was really, really good. I also wanted to bring up the orange glazed turkey breast that we did. That was incredible, and I said that was my favorite. We really tried to do a lot of Asian-inspired things when it comes to these turkey breasts because that's a flavor that we enjoy. So we took those oranges, we made a little bit of like an orange chicken glaze,
right?
Put it over top of the turkey breast, and it was stupid good. So I think that one's worth checking out. But I don't want to spend too much time talking about turkey breasts anymore. But I did want to bring this one up because we were kind of on the pellet grill, right?
Yeah.
So we filmed the best pellet grill brisket, which was the short version of the recipe. And I'll tell you what. I don't want to talk about it for too long, but I do want to bring it up because if you guys are looking to try cooking a brisket, in my opinion, this is the way to do it. If you have a pellet grill, you're going to put it to 225 degrees at 8 p.m. 8 p.m., you're going to put it to 225 degrees. If you have a pellet grill with 2 racks, you're going to put your brisket on the top rack with a water pan under it, which apparently I didn't understand and I didn't realize. But if you put a water pan in your smoker, you do not deserve to have a smoker and you don't know what you're doing. I got told that in a comment. But you're going to put a water pan under that brisket. What it does is it does 2 things. It protects the brisket from the heat directly under it, and it also keeps moisture in the chamber to where you don't have to worry about going to spritz it every 10 minutes before it drying out. We wake up in the morning around 7 o'clock, don't even look at it, go out at 8 o'clock, that's 12 hours later, that brisket is still moist, it's still got plenty of moisture on the outside of it, and it's nothing that we really need to worry about. Now, the thing about the brisket at that point is you probably could let it keep riding and gaining more bark, or maybe even take the water pan out at that point because you don't need it anymore. You can actually focus on your brisket cook. But don't do those things. If you want it to be really, really good and really, really easy, you keep that water pan in there. And at that point, 12 hours later, no matter what the bark on the top looks like, you wrap it with the foil boat. And this is where I really think this is key. So this foil boat, we like to use beef broth and a good quality butter. If you guys want to use beef tallow, do that. If you guys want to use another wrap, do that. If you want to use Bill's wrap, brisket wrap, do that. Do it however you want, but wrap it up. Leave that top exposed. Use that foil boat method because at that point, you really haven't rendered all the fat that you want to or need to. But leaving that top exposed allows it to keep cooking, keep rendering fat, and all you got to do is throw in a ThermoWorks RFX or whatever wireless thermometer and watch the temps around 205 degrees. You're going to start temping with a thermopen to verify probe tenderness, and then it's done. It is quite literally that easy. And you take it out, you wrap it in foil. We like to wrap the whole thing in foil at that point, and you let it rest on the counter for around 45 minutes, stop cooking, throw it into a heated oven or a heated pellet grill on 165, 160 degrees. I would prefer to go lower, but we're just working with what we got. Rest it for about 3-4 hours, and I promise you it's going to be tender, and it's going to be juicy, and it is going to be delicious. We didn't trim that brisket. We used Killer Hogs TX on it. Very, very simple. Tried to keep it stupid simple. We did, and it was still incredible. And I really think that that is such a good way to make a brisket if you are lacking a little bit of confidence and you have a pellet grill. There's nothing wrong with lacking the confidence. You have to do it in order to get better. And unfortunately, you still, even listening and watching, you might mess up. That's okay, right? That's okay. But I do think this is such a wonderful method to cooking brisket.
Yeah, and even like, kind of like you said with the water pan, if you think about when we cook like competition briskets, we cook those fat side down because we want the top to be our presentation side and we want that fat to protect the bottom since we're cooking hot and fast. But in an overnight scenario like this, where we have the fat on top, there's nothing really protecting the bottom. So I think that water pan's really essential. Even though the heat's very low, you don't really want anything to get too hard.
Yeah,
because that's what people are eating.
The edges will get hard.
Right.
Because we've talked about this, right? The pellet grill is convection.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that there's air all around that brisket. It's hitting it from every single angle. So you can get really crispy edges, which makes it for a flaky, like if you start cutting it, it flakes. It doesn't look good. It doesn't taste good. You got to cut little bits away. Ask me how I know.
Right.
We've messed up before, for sure. I mean, even in the past couple of years, we've messed up.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to protect it with that water pan for sure.
Yeah, I don't really understand the criticism there. I mean, it's just a water pan.
I just brought it up because I thought that was funny. It's not a huge deal. Whoever that is, I hope you're having a good day.
Yeah, no, well, for anyone listening, right, who's like wanting to recreate this and thinking if they're new to, smoking and they're thinking, oh, well, what's wrong with the water pan? There's nothing wrong with the water pan.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
I said, I just brought it up to be silly.
Right. But I do think that's very necessary. It's going to protect the bottom of that brisket. And yeah, I think the foil boat method, it's something we almost always do when it comes to a backyard brisket because I think it makes it continues creating bark, but it renders the fat so perfectly. It's like that like sticky, fatty addition to your brisket slice. So yeah, I thought it was a phenomenal brisket.
Yeah, and we were not hungry because we were doing stuff, tasting this, tasting that, and then we started biting that brisket. We're like, gosh dang, this thing is good. I'm going to eat a few pieces here. So a very, very good brisket if you guys are interested in looking at that recipe. Most definitely check it out. So we've been doing a lot of recipes in short form lately, and we'll kind of see how things shake out, but we really like the way things are going. Short form recipes, long form gives us a little bit of more freeness. What's the word I'm looking for? Creativity,
right.
Freedom to create content however we want, and hopefully you guys are here for the ride. So we're going to start doing restaurant reviews again. We're going to start doing Texas barbecue restaurant reviews again. We may be going to one tomorrow. It just depends on the weather. The weather's been really yucky. So just keep an eye on the channel. We're going to keep posting a lot of content. I feel really, really I mean, I always talk about this, right? But I just feel so motivated. I love what we're doing, and I want to post every single day, every single day. So moving on to the next recipe that we haven't talked to you guys about, it was the Texas Cowboy beans. So John Monroe, shout out John, I work with him. He always does barbecues for his team, and he'll do, it's just like a appreciation thing. Hey, thank you guys for working hard. Hey, we hit however many man hours with, full safety. And he always makes these cowboy beans. The first time I ever tasted them, I kind of knew that they were like a jazzed up pork and beans, because my dad loves pork and beans, and you know that. But my dad loves pork and beans, so I could taste that pork and bean flavor there. But he really elevated it with bacon, with ground beef, with some onions, with, other flavors in there. So I went to work the other day, a couple weeks back, and I was talking to John, and I was like, man, I really need to make beans like yours, but I'm just not really sure exactly. He goes, well, don't worry about it, dude. He pulls out a piece of paper that was already on his desk printed, and he's like, here's the recipe. I get asked all the time because a lot of people really love those beans.
Yeah.
So I ended up texting you saying, hey, I want to make these beans. Instead of just straight copying John, let's make a few little tweaks here, which they're not big, but what we did was we got the ground beef. We got a 16-ounce package of ground beef. I think it was a little bit over a pound, because those ones that are, at the local grocery stores, they're kind of never exact. So we browned that up, drained the fat, threw some peppered bacon in there, which I really feel like this peppered bacon made a difference.
Yeah,
I
sure.
really, because HEB peppers the heck out of that bacon, I'll tell you what, boy. So we did 1 pack of peppered bacon, and then what I did was I told you in the middle of the cook, I was like, look at all that flavor that we got on this pan. I said, let's deglaze it. Let's get that fond, and let's throw it back into our beans. So I got some beef bone broth, or bone beef broth, or whatever it's called, and I deglazed that pan, and I scraped all that fond up, and then we threw our onions in there, and we cooked them about halfway. And then whenever we went to go pour all of that goodness back into the pan, we at that point had ground beef, we had peppered bacon, we had onions with all that fond, with a little bit of beef broth, the smallest amount.
Yeah, because the onions absorbed it.
Exactly. So it was a small amount of beef broth, but we then added white kidney beans, red kidney beans, pork and beans, ketchup, barbecue sauce, brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, and is that it?
Yep.
And that's it. And then we just mixed everything together, and we threw it onto a smoker at 275 degrees for around 3 to 4 hours until everything was a really nice consistency. Those beans were really nice and soft. And I'll tell you what, shout out John, that was an incredible bean, and I would make that a million times over. You actually said it perfectly. You're like, dude, if we were eating pork chops or pork steaks or pork ribs, this is the bean for that.
Well, my favorite thing to eat with pork and beans, I know your dad likes to do a steak with pork and beans.
Yeah.
I really like classic barbecue chicken, like turn and burn barbecue chicken with pork and beans and a side of broccoli. I don't know why that's a perfect combination for me.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of bean that I would want to eat with that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I feel like the pork and beans, it kind of goes with that pork or that barbecue saucy type of meal. But yeah, just because Dad and how we grew up, I will eat a steak with pork and beans, and then what Dad would do was pour A1 sauce over the pork and beans.
Right.
And that's just, it's kind of like putting beans in chili, right? I was just brought up that way.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, I was given chili, and it had beans in it. So to me, beans belong in chili because of the way I was raised, right? And it's not even that they belong. It's just if I make it, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's not for me, it's not a belong or don't belong. It's just that's the way I make it because that's the way my mom always made it. We've made chili with no beans, and it's damn good too. I got nothing bad to say about chili with beans or without beans. But that being said, those beans were really, really good. And then moving on to our next one, we did some char-grilled ribs, which I'll let you talk a little bit about these. But truly, how simple and how good were they?
So, and it's funny because I really do prefer, texture-wise, I prefer a very, fall off the bone rib. So, but I do like a dry rub rib. So I was really intrigued by this recipe because first of all, it's like a no wrap, no sauce, just like a dry rub rib.
Yeah.
And
So we used Killer Hog's TX rub,
right,
and that was the only rub that we used.
right. But we're cooking them hot and fast in an hour or a little less than an
Yeah,
hour.
it was like 53 minutes to be exact.
Right. So you're kind of, even though you're taking it to the same internal temperature you would a low and slow rib, there's going to be textural differences, right? So I didn't really know what to expect. But those ribs were like super tender for being an hour grilled burn and turn type of rib.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I actually thought they were extremely good.
Oh, for sure. And that fat was like a perfect complement to the
Right.
rib in general. And I'll tell you what, yes, it's like you said, there's textural differences. It's not going to be fall off the bone. It's not going to slide off the bone or anything like that. You're going to have a little bit of bite back on it.
But it was super tender.
But still super tender and still tasted so good. So I invite you to watch that recipe. There's really not much to talk about because it was almost that simple.
Yeah, it's almost
salt, pepper, garlic, turn and burn, 55 minutes, 205 degrees, boom, they're done.
It reminded me
End
a
of story.
lot of like a pork steak, where a pork steak isn't as fall apart as like pulled pork, but a pork steak, if you cook it, the way we like, it's still tender, it's still soft, but it's not like mushy like that.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's what these reminded me of, is like soft and tender like a pork steak, but not like soft and tender like pulled pork.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I 100% agree with you there. I still think they're very, very worth trying. And I think a lot of these recipes that we come up with, it's also for us too. It's to see if it works, to see how it works, to see how good they are. And I definitely think this was a major success, and I would 100% be down to make ribs like that again.
Yeah, I think
there's no doubt in my mind.
If you're crunched on time and it's like you just got off work and you're like, man, I really want some ribs, that's the method to do, and you're still going to be completely happy with them. I thought they were, and they didn't really need that much of a rest.
Yeah.
I know some people were asking like, okay, was it really an hour because you should also rest your ribs?
Yeah,
Like, okay,
and
I
we
understand
we did rest them. I'll openly admit it. We did rest them, but they were on the cooker, they were on the drum for less than an hour, right? But one of the things that I'll say real quick, and I know I don't have to say these things, but I just kind of like to do it, and I talk to you about it, and it's just our time to talk. Guys, when I'm making titles, when we're doing thumbnails, like, yes, it's a little exaggerated. Let's be real. It's to try and grab attention. This is the best turkey breast that you're ever going to have. It might not be. But, I mean, what do you want me to say? Hey, you guys might like this, but you might think it sucks. You're going to be like, swipe, I ain't going to the next one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to capture attention in what I'm saying, in what I'm writing, in what Sabrina's making on a thumbnail. Like, that's just part of the game, all right? So it's not always, in this situation, it's not always black and white, right? It can be a little bit different, but, yeah, those ribs were extremely incredible. And then on to the last one, which was my favorite, and I feel like is something that I will do again and again and again, despite it actually taking a really long time to prep, and I was getting annoyed, and you know this. So,
Yeah.
Again, we'll openly admit it. We did some bacon-wrapped chicken lollipops. To lollipop that chicken was starting to piss me off. I was like, all right, is this really worth it? But to me, in the end, it was. Because the chicken was cooked so perfectly. The bacon was cooked perfectly. You can even see it in the video. When I bite it, I bit straight through the bacon. You could see my teeth marks, and it was just beyond perfect.
Yeah, so with that chicken, yeah, there's definitely some prep work that goes into it. And kind of like with the ribs, right? Like, if we go post that recipe, we're not going to say, hey, this chicken took me however many hours, because you have to add in the prep.
It wasn't
right?
hours. I
No,
know you're
know.
exaggerating, but it
Yeah.
wasn't hours.
It
It was like 35 minutes for me to prep all these chicken
Right.
legs.
So likewise, even like with the ribs, right? We're not going to say it took more than an hour, because I don't know how long you out there want to rest them, right? So like with this chicken, it's all going to depend on how much prep work you want to put into trimming these chicken legs, right? But I think it pays off, because chicken legs in general, they have those little tendons and everything in them, and it's not desirable. And when you cut that like tip, so you can get the skin off the tip of that bone, and it's going to expose all of those tendons. And I think, yes, you could just leave them, but I think it's not going to look appealing. So I think it's worth putting in that extra time to cut them. But I think what's key here is having a sharp knife and good shears.
Yeah, the shears are super important. Like, we use the Cutco, but Mom gave us a pair of KitchenAid ones.
Yeah.
From, where'd she get them, Walmart?
Probably, I think.
And honestly, those are super nice. They're super heavy duty. They're really, really thick. I'll look for a link online, and we'll put them in the podcast, because really, we've been using those KitchenAid shears for a couple of weeks now, maybe a month, and they are really, really nice. In my opinion, they're just as good as the Cutco, which,
ones,
I mean, the difference is major in price, I'm sure, because the Cutco ones are like $200,
something like that.
They're pretty expensive, and I can't imagine those KitchenAid ones being maybe more than, I mean, at most $50. Most.
Yeah, I'm even thinking around like 30.
I agree.
Like that, right?
I agree. I'm just saying, like, tops maybe $50, and I think that they're a really, really good set of shears that we've been using a lot lately.
Because you want shears that are actually going to grip the skin. So I think that's like the similarities between those two shears is they grip the skin really well, as opposed to just those cheap shears where it's just like a smooth blade on each side.
For sure.
Where it's not really going to grip that.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important. I think if you have like, if we weren't filming, we would be tag teaming that.
For sure.
And then you get them done.
I swear
faster.
to you, I was this close to being like, can you please help me with this? Because I was getting so annoyed. But it is what it is. And I do think it's worth it. I do like to be honest with you guys. It's a little bit of pain in the booty, but it was worth it in the end, because I bit into that thing and I was like, holy smokes. So we ended up making a little chicken dunk sauce, right? Killer Hogs the barbecue sauce, tried and true, incredible flavor. If you haven't tried it, please go try it. And then we used Melinda's hot honey. So I used half a cup of Killer Hogs the barbecue sauce and about 2 tablespoons of Melinda's hot honey. Mixed it together, and I just dunked those lollipops into a cup. A lot of people use the Yeti cups. Sorry, we ain't got it like that. Sorry. We used a little Walmart plastic cup. No, I'm just kidding. We do have some of those Yeti cups, but I didn't want to put it in the sauce. I'm like, the kids use those to drink.
We got like the big cups. Yeah,
the kids use those to drink. We ain't doing that. But I dunked it. We threw it back onto the smoker to tack up. Man, I'll tell you what. It just was overall such a good bite of chicken.
And they were bacon wrapped.
Yeah, exactly. So we wrapped them in the bacon as well. I mean, realistically, bacon, most people like bacon. Bacon wrapped around a chicken lollipop dunked in a really, really good sauce. I mean, come on. Yeah. How is that not going to be incredible, you know?
Those chicken lollipops with the side of those beans and some broccoli, that would have been a meal, but we filmed it 2 separate days.
Yeah, so, and that's the thing, right? When we film, a lot of the times we have, like, multiple different things going on, and it's like, towards the end of it, I'm like, dude, I already tried 50 things. So that's the funny part, right? Like, we go over to mom and dad's with all this food, and they're like, y'all are not eating? I'm like, dude, I just had to try all of that stuff 3 times for a camera to make sure we got a good reaction, and I said the right things and I didn't stutter or whatever. I'm like, dude, unfortunately I've eaten a lot.
Well, then sometimes you like burn your mouth the first time, so then you gotta,
and then I'm screwed. Yeah.
Then you gotta take another bite.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I will say. I could even tell when I was looking back at the footage, I'm like, gosh, like when I'm biting it, like I'm all scared to bite it. Like you could see it in my face and in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, you look like a fool. But we didn't have any other shots, so like whatever, it is what it is. If I get roasted, maybe it'll bring some engagement to the post. It just kind of is what it is, man. But so a lot of really, really good recipes lately. And man, we've been having fun making them. So like I said, hopefully we get to do a barbecue review here within the next couple of days. And this next month, we do have a lot going on, but we're going to probably try and film 2 barbecue reviews this month. They won't necessarily come out this month, but we're going to try and do that. And I think one of the things Sabrina and I have kind of been thinking about, and we talked about a little bit this week, was, we are going to continue to pound and pound and pound on the short form content, like really, really hard. When it comes to the long form videos, we really want to make sure that we are doing quality content for you guys. So if that means that we have to skip a week because we don't feel like we have a quality idea, we're going to. We did that this week. It's kind of funny. I was watching, so I like golf a lot. I like watching Grant Horvat. I like watching the good guys, Bryson DeChambeau. And I was watching a podcast where Grant Horvat actually said, like, him and his wife, because his wife films him, they focus on good videos and good videos only. If you post good videos, you're never going to lose traction because a good video is a good video, right? Like, you're going to sit here and tell me if we go and do a recipe with Malcolm, right? And then 3 weeks later, we do a recipe with, I don't know, Kanye West. Like those are both not going to be good videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously Kanye West, I don't know what made me think of him, but just, you know what I mean? Like, or like, you know, we do a video with Malcolm and then 3 weeks later, like, we're doing a video with Elle from Stranger Things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know her real name, but it's gonna be good content because it's good content. So we really want to focus up around those things, and we're not slowing down. If anything, we're speeding up. Like I said, I really, like, Sabrina probably is like, why do you like this? I really want to make a post every single day. Like, I really like a recipe of something every single day. Like, that's my goal in my brain, is everyday content every day. So create, don't consume. Create good content. You don't have to sit there and scroll and doom scroll and consume a lot of content. I think consuming content's a really good thing. There's this guy I like watching. His name is Higher Up Wellness, like one of my favorite. And I was just telling you that today. Just the way that he carries himself, the things that he says. I love a lot of what he says, and not everything is perfect, right? But I'll consume content like that, self-motivating, entrepreneur stuff, business owner stuff. But, you know, really want to focus on creating and not consuming as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that's really all we had for this podcast.
Yeah, no,
a lot of recipes. That's what we've been working. Even though no long form for the most part.
Yeah,
a lot of recipes are getting pushed out.
Yeah, a lot of recipes, and we're going to continue to do them, like I just said. So with that being said, like Sabrina just said a second ago, I think we're good for this episode today. If you guys do not subscribe to our channel, now is a perfect time to do that. I think we're over 81,000 subscribers. 19,000 away from that plaque that I want so bad. Yeah. You guys can help us. Subscribing is completely free, and it does help the channel so much. I saw a statistic the other day that like 85% of people that watch our channel aren't subscribed.
Yeah, I think that goes across the board with most creators.
For sure. But you can click the subscribe button. Yeah. It's free, and it will help us reach our goals. If you guys are listening on Apple, Spotify, whatever, man, share this with a friend. Maybe they will enjoy listening to us talk about barbecue, talk about recipes, talk about business, talk about family, talk about all things, everything. If Sabrina's good, I'm good.
I have one more thing.
Go ahead.
Thank you to everybody who made us sell out of our holiday boxes after Black Friday, which because we got so much traction on it, we did order more. And so we will be back with the holiday boxes, and just follow us on Facebook or just check the website every now and then to see when they're back in stock. But, I mean, yeah, you guys cleared us out.
Yeah, maybe Sabrina shouldn't have said that because now I'm going to talk about it for a second, right? But that's the only negative about it, and it's not even really negative. I ramble. You guys know this. To be in a position where you guys are doing this for us is, like, overwhelming, to say the least, right? It's super overwhelming, and it's in, like, a powerful way. It feels overwhelming, but in a powerful way. So the other night, 2 nights ago, Sabrina and I were in this office packaging orders until about 10:30, 11, because we had so many orders that we needed to push out because you guys were just killing us online in a good way. And I ordered 3 times the amount of boxes this year.
Yeah.
And they sold out probably 3 times faster than last year.
Yeah.
It just an incredible feeling. I couldn't explain it to you how fulfilling it feels that you guys are enjoying what we're doing, supporting what we're doing, and helping us push to further heights. I talk about this a lot with Sabrina and to you guys on this podcast, but we are nothing without you guys. I mean, and the crazy thing is, like I tell Sabrina all the time, I still feel like we are still kind of like nothing, right? But the reality is we are something because we've been able to achieve these small goals. And that night when we were sitting in here and it was about 11 o'clock and, Sabrina's doing the brunt of the work. I ain't even going to sit here and lie to you, right? Because I worked all day. I was getting kind of tired. I sat down for a minute and I was frustrated. I wanted to go home. I'm tired. Like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to shower. I'm going to sleep. I got to wake up at 5. And I was flustered. I was super flustered, and I know you could tell, and I know that like I wanted to go home, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore, right? But the truth is, we 100% prayed for times like this, right? Sabrina and I talked about it for the longest time. If we could make $100 a day, our business would be thriving through the roof. And then we have days where we're making whatever X that amount, and now I'm frustrated because I'm here at 11 o'clock. Come on, that doesn't make sense, right? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You know, I mean, it's just like, obviously that's just the cliche saying, but like, how can I sit here and complain because I'm tired when I asked for this? I want this. I'm pushing for this, but it happens, and it's happening for days and days and days in a row, and we're killing sales, and then I'm flustered because we're in here working. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy to see some of these things happen sometimes. And a lot of the times it still doesn't feel real. A lot of the times I still feel like this isn't a real business. I can't explain it. I'm not saying it's not a real business. I'm saying I feel like it's just, we're just having fun. We're just doing. No, this has turned into, a very time-consuming and real business. And
right.
we make business transactions every day. We make business decisions all the time. And I tell Sabrina all the time, I told her 2 days ago, I still feel like a dumb kid.
Yeah.
I really do. I still feel like an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Like I really, truly do. My brain doesn't operate any different. Well, it does, but I still feel like an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to go to high school tomorrow with my best buddies, and we're just going to be dumb all day. And then on Friday night, we're going to go, watch a football game. We're going to go eat Whataburger, and then probably going to do something with my friends tomorrow, and probably going to go golf. And then, maybe there's a party or there's a bonfire. Like my brain is still the same, but everything's different, right? I got a family. I got a beautiful wife. I got beautiful kids, and we're building this business. So I'm glad Sabrina brought that up. I'm sorry that I'm kind of going on my little rant now, but I didn't go on it yet. So of course this is due, right? This is due, but don't forget about the things that you asked for and prayed for when they're in the moment, right? When you're in that moment, right? We wanted $100 a day, and then it's some days we didn't get it for a really long time. And man, if we could only do it, 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 then we drop a product and you guys sell us out 3 times faster than last year, 3 times the amount. We have to order more. We're up working. We're showing our kids the value of hard work. We're working hard with them. The kids are in here helping us, create, put the boxes together and ship them out. And it's an overwhelming feeling, but it's very appreciated. And I just can't explain to you guys enough on how much it means, right? And, if you guys are trying to do anything in life that you want, just do it. Just don't stop. Do it. I promise you it'll work. Maybe not to the magnitude that you want in your brain. Of course, I want to make $100 billion, right? Like who doesn't, right? But it's going to work. It's working for Sabrina and I right now. And we have created something really cool with the help of you guys. And I'll never, ever be able to take that away from you guys as well. Because yes, Sabrina and I put in a lot of hard work, but you guys have trusted us. You've tried the products. You've promoted them to your friends, your family, whatever. And it just means a lot. Holiday boxes are coming back. Well, we hope, right? We ordered them and we're ready to fulfill more orders. But yeah, it's been kind of crazy. Tuttle's Meat Market in Rockport, Texas does have some in stock. So if you guys go by Tuttle's Meat Market in Rockport, Texas, you can maybe pick up a holiday box there on site and you guys can do your thing. But, we'll wrap this one up. If Sabrina's good,
I'm good.
I'm good. We will see you guys and you will hear us on the next episode. Peace.